3:30, not because of any rotation, but because there probably could be a small bit of hail in there from that thunderstorm right now, right over Denellen in Ocala. But to recap what happened over the weekend, let me bring it back to our region view, and I want to show you the rain over the last, let's do 3 days. It was really significant. Let me turn off that warning. So I turned off the counties and the towns. Let me turn it back on so you see for perspective. It's a little easier to see this graphic without the city labels on it. Look where the pink is. We'll do a little digging here. And we're going to have some reports tonight from this flooding from TJ Springer coming up in the News Edge at 5, 6 at some point later this evening. But I want you to notice here that purple outside of Daytona Beach. This is some pretty notable rain here. Just over the last 3 days, almost 7 inches of rain. Now, this is a pretty rural area, but right by Daytona National Speedway, 4 inches of rain over the past 3 days. You come up here outside of Palatka and Pearson. Some of this rain by Myrtle Island and Shell Bluff. Again, some more rural areas, but 7 inches of rain. And again, thanks for joining us on Fox Local and on YouTube. This is our new 3 o'clock weather stream, and we're going to build this into something really cool. So if you have a question, a comment, a concern, please send it to me or any of the storm team, and we'd love to hear from you here on our weather stream. But the rain over the weekend was really significant. Let me bring you down into Orange County here. Not quite over the theme parks, but a little bit east of the theme parks. Look at this right where 417 meets up with the Turnpike. Look at this rain over Hunters Creek over the last 3 days. 7 inches of rain, 6, 7 inches of rain. We'll go back 5 days. See, it really wasn't over 5 days. It was over the last 3 days. Over by Shingle Creek, 4 inches of rain. I know John Brown is our resident golf expert at the station, and he makes his rounds across Central Florida golf courses, and the report is wet in cart path only. There's a lot of standing water at this point over the last 2 weeks scattered across our area. But you come over towards Eatonville over the last 3 days, right off of Naples Drive, 7 inches of rain. So again, let me give you the big view. Was it everywhere? No, definitely not. I mean, you come up here by Gainesville. What a shocking game, by the way, this weekend with USF beating the Gators in the swamp. Wow. Not a lot of rain, though. The good news for that game, though, is the storm stayed south, which is what we talked about Friday. But a shocker there in Florida. How about Florida football, by the way? You've got UCF, USF, undefeated. Both of them have a better record than the Gators. Interesting stat there. You will get a little bit of sports when you watch the weather with me here from time to time. But yeah, the story over the last 3 days has been rain significant in some areas. And across the southeast, you can see it really wasn't much outside of Central Florida. It's really just been Florida. There's been some rain here. Let me turn off the city label so you can see. There was a cold front over the weekend up in southern New England. There was a cold front here in the Tennessee Valley with some rain. But the real major rain over the weekend was definitely here in Central Florida. So that's the here and now. Let me show you what's going on outside. And then we're going to talk some tropics when I see you after a break here coming up in a few minutes. You can tell where the rain has been and where it hasn't been. We're in the 80s to 70s. Let me show you the view downtown tonight. You can see looking north, there's that downpour. And thanks to all these clouds and the rain, it's really not that hot. I mean, the average high is still about 91. So, you know, some places are 10 degrees plus below average for this time of the year out there right now. Here's the winds. It is a little bit gusty. These winds from the northeast will actually pick up tomorrow. Last week we had a couple of really breezy days. We'll have a couple of really breezy days again out there for this week. But the temperatures across the state, again, held below average, just 77 in Ocala right now. And temperatures tonight, they won't move down much. I mean, they'll probably be in the mid-70s. There'll be some showers that linger through the evening, but nothing all that significant. And tomorrow, temperatures somewhere into the mid to high 80s and only low 80s. What you get from Ocala to Gainesville. So again, it's really not that bad at all. Now, the big story for the weekend, this upcoming weekend, is going to be another cool front in the Midwest. But here's the Alive Heat Index across the country. Notice there's not one city above 100. Yeah, I'll take this full and show you. Not one city above 100 currently. You see it's 78 in Nashville, 72 in New York, 97 in Tucson. So the takeaway from this graphic I want you to get is that the seasons are changing. And it's not going to be long here in Florida that we have our first real big cool down coming up over the next probably 2 to 3 weeks. Now, hurricane season is very far from being done. In fact, you don't have to go back far. Just last year, we had Helene at the end of September. We had Milton in October. We're going to talk more about the tropics here coming up in a minute. So in 2 minutes, I'm going to take a quick break for you, but I want to walk you through the future cast for tonight and then going into tomorrow, because we will have a lot more storms tomorrow, especially relative to today. And I do think we could see some more flash flooding tomorrow and Wednesday. So let me cue up the future cast here. By the way, thanks for joining us. Hope you had a great weekend. It's going to be a pretty active couple of days, and things will taper down here as we go into the later part of the week. So let me pull up the futurecast here alongside of me. So here we are, about 3 o'clock, and notice as we go through the evening, there'll be some showers and storms. I don't think there's anything too, major for tonight. Going into tomorrow, though, we'll have a lot of clouds, and notice the clouds are really numerous. But look at the storms. There's a lot of them. Probably like this time tomorrow, it would not be a shock to me if we had a couple of severe storms or even a brief tornado warning, and there's a reason for that. Because there's a non-tropical low that's going to skirt across the state like this. And think of it kind of like feeder outer bands in a hurricane right here. See these little bands? And within those, there can be a few rotating cells. The chance is probably low, but again, we've seen here in Central Florida enough when there's a low chance of a tornado, we've had some severe stuff. So that's the idea for tomorrow and Wednesdays. It's going to be pretty wet and active in the afternoon and evening. So I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. When I see you after the break, stay with us here on Fox Local. We're going to talk tropics. We're going to hear from meteorologist Brooks Garner about some new things that are coming with the hurricane scale. But right now, I'll take a quick break. I'll see you back here in about 2 minutes. Hey there, everybody. Meteorologist Bergren back with you. Thanks for sticking with us here on Fox Local and on our YouTube page. It's been a busy weekend and a busy couple of days. We actually had a brief tornado that occurred on Sunday afternoon, a 65-mile-an-hour tornado, EF0 in Brevard County in Palm Bay. And we actually have somebody who's joining us from that area who saw this, who's actually quite the weather fan, and I love people who are interested in meteorology. Obviously, I'm biased, and I believe you can hear me.
Yes, sir. Oh, I lost the audio. I lost audio of you, Noah.
Yeah. Tim, can you hear me?
I got you now, sir.
Hi. So you're an avid fan of the weather, and first of all, I wanted to say we appreciate you sending in all of your reports all the time, because it's
Oh
people like
yeah,
you
no
that help
problem.
us do our job. So walk me
Absolutely.
through what you know about what happened over.
Well, I just thought it was just a regular thunderstorm coming in. Just the typical Florida storm. And kind of watching the radar as I always do. I'm out there doing my thing. I, you know, do DoorDash deliveries on the side, and yes, I'm always watching the weather alongside of that. And I saw kind of the storm system coming in from the west. I saw the sea breeze coming in from the east, the outflow boundaries coming from the north. I'm just like, man, this could get interesting. Um, but I
Now,
didn't really think anything of it. And so basically, I go to drop off my delivery that I was going to, and as I'm pulling out of their driveway, I look and I see the low level clouds rotating very fast. I'm like, oh, this could drop something real quick. And sure enough, I sat there for a couple of moments and took some video. And next thing you know, I see a cone coming down. I'm like, oh, wow. So yeah. Up. Hey, Noah, I lost your audio again.
back this way. Can you hear me now?
I got you now, sir.
Hey, sorry about that. So
Oh,
this is the
right.
first time we're doing this, so we're working through some kinks. Appreciate you being flexible, my friend. So was this the first time you've seen a tornado or a funnel, or have you seen one before there?
Oh no, I've seen a couple. I had one I caught pictures of. I was in Palm Bay, looking towards Melbourne about June last year. I saw the tornado that hit near the National Weather Service office there, and then last year with Hurricane Milton, I zero metered a tornado out there in rural Osceola, out by Holopaw.
Now this one definitely was not, the strongest. It was only 65 miles an hour in the Palm Bay area. A couple of fence and sheds, some shingles blown off. What do you think? As somebody who's a fan of the weather, you follow it, you study it clearly. Zero
Yeah.
metering being Reed Timmer's terminology from the Midwest.
Woo, woo.
What is it that fascinates you most about the weather there in Brevard County? I'm curious.
It's a lot of times it's a real crapshoot. I mean, it's changeable. It's you know, you don't know what you're gonna get from day to day. Um, that's just the great part of living here in Florida. That's a great part about living on the Space Coast is that, it could change so quickly, so rapidly, and it kind of keeps you on your toes. It's just kind of exciting to see kind of things like that happen.
And it definitely strikes me as people who are new to this area, and it's fascinating to me too, just how many of these outflow boundary collisions happen in Brevard County. I feel like Brevard County is the E of zero spin up capital of Central Florida. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, when the pattern's just right, when we have that steering flow out of the west, like we had yesterday, and we get that sea breeze that comes in. I mean, yeah, it could be very interesting around here. We see a lot of those blowups along those sea breezes and the outflows and all that on this east side when that steering flow is just right. So
And thankfully, this one didn't do anything extreme. It didn't look like, but yeah, people these little spin ups off of boundary collisions, they can sometimes be EF1, EF2, as you know very well.
yes, yes, and it catch a lot of people off guard. You hear it all the time when you talk to people. Oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming yesterday. That certainly was not on my bingo card yesterday. But that's kind of part of living here is you kind of have to anticipate things like that happening. It's just par for the course here, and like I said, it just pops up a lot. It sometimes pops up without warning. Like there was no warning on this storm yesterday. Hats off to the weather service. I mean, they're on it, but quick spin ups like this that happened yesterday, you can't get warning out in time.
And that's definitely why people like you make our job more successful in people who are forecasting weather, because we can have all the radar in the world, but without the eyes on the ground, it only goes so far.
Yeah, the value of storm chasers, the value of of just freelance people like like myself, and I mean there's others out there that do the same thing. I mean, it's eyes on the ground, and and being able to be there first to be able to actually see some of that damage too is pretty remarkable, because I live within about a half a mile of where the tornado touched down. So
Well, Tim, first of all, appreciate you coming on today. Second of all, I love the weather like you do, as I think you know, and I love that you love the weather. And I hope that we're doing a new show here from 3 to 3:30 every day, and I hope that this is not just your first time on here. I hope that you'll join us again talking about weather in Central Florida, because as you know, it's very much
oh,
a weather laboratory around here.
oh, absolutely. And I mean, it would definitely be more my pleasure to be able to do that. I love weather. I love talking about it. I love discussing patterns and things like that. And you know yeah.
Well, Tim, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you for sharing what you saw, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Sure thing.
Hey everybody, appreciate you sticking with us here on Fox 35, on Fox Local, and on our YouTube channel. And that was really cool hearing from Tim. It's it's people like that really make the wheels go around with forecasting and reporting the weather. Because again, we can have all the fanciest radar technology in the world, if we don't have the eyes and the ears in the ground, it only goes so far. And we'll hope that if there's some of you watching that are also weather fans, weather fanatics, you have an interest in weather, that you'll join us here on this new weather stream. We're going to get out some more tools and ways you can connect with us to get on here as we go forward and get this going over the next couple of weeks and months. But if you are a weather fan, we look forward to hearing from you here from 3 to 3:30 every day here on Fox Local and on our YouTube page. All right, so now let's switch gears. I want to talk some tropics with you quick. Let me go ahead and tee you up with what we're going to talk about. So the tropics right now are very quiet. And in fact, there's nothing going on across the basin. And if you look out here right now, things are totally calm. There's nothing expected over the next week in the Atlantic, the Caribbean, or the Gulf, which is remarkably rare, given the historical peak of hurricane season is in 2 days. We don't think that will last the whole rest of the way, but the good news right now is things are quiet. Now, there's a lot of research and a lot of new things that are going on in terms of tropics and hurricanes And it's really fascinating where we're going in terms of forecasting hurricanes and reporting on them. But one thing that has been a topic of conversation for a while privately, and behind the TV curtain, if you will, in the meteorological community, is refining the Saffir-Simpson wind scale, which that's how we rate hurricanes. It's solely based on the wind speed, nothing else. And it's a fascinating discussion. We could talk about it much greater length in just a few minutes. But Brooks Garner, meteorologist Brooks Garner, sat down and talked here with some people from the University of South Florida in Tampa who are working with a couple of universities to refine and contemplate how we can do a better job of warning people with ranking and rating hurricanes. And it's a really interesting conversation. I want to play it to you here. It's a couple of minutes. And again, here's meteorologist Brooks Garner on the topic of Saffir-Simpson wind scale and refining it here going forward.
The idea of category has entered the vernacular, right? Oh, it's a Cat 5 coming. How can we teach the public when this scale is ultimately instilled how to use it? What would you call it? Would it be a Cat 5 TCSS?
Yeah, so there's different ways, right? And I think we should test on what to do. But what our research from the last year has shown is that people respond to those category numbers. And also anecdotally, you hear people, I won't evacuate if it's not a Cat 3 or something like that. But also a survey we put out among 4,000 people on the US coast showed that with the TCSS scale, which basically has higher numbers because of rain and surge, people take more appropriate action and evacuate more often.
I really appreciate your time today, Hans. Thank you so much. Good luck with it, and we'll follow along and hopefully be able to use it on our forecasts on the TV side to serve the folks here in Central Florida, certainly. So thank you again, Hans de Muur from the Netherlands, and your English is much better than my Dutch.
Thanks for that, Brooks. It was good joining you here.
Appreciate you. The idea of category has entered the vernacular, right? Oh, it's a Cat 5.
All right, everybody. Very interesting to talk about. We could talk about this more on a different time, but essentially the topic of conversation with Brooks was having there is how can we more accurately rank a hurricane when the impacts are going to be more notable outside of just the wind speed. It's a very interesting conversation. I definitely think there's something to be said for modifying the Saffir-Simpson wind scale to include more things like flooding and surge and whatnot to better plan and prepare people for what's coming. Case in point, there's tropical storms that produce 40 inches of rain but are rated as a tropical storm. Do people take that less because it was just a tropical storm? It's a very interesting topic of conversation, and so far this year we've really gotten away without a lot of anything significant and major. Aaron was the only hurricane so far this year at Cat 5, so this year this has not been a forefront of an occurrence just quite yet, but it's definitely interesting. Rainfall, storm surge, things like that. How can we rank a hurricane when, let's say, it's moving very slowly and it's a Cat 1, and the prolonged impact of the wind on shore is going to produce a monumental storm surge, but it's only a Cat 1, right? Because there can be a Cat 5, and it's moving so fast, it's a totally different beast than if a tropical storm stalls over Orlando. Case in point, think of Hurricane Harvey. Harvey didn't landfall as a Cat 5, but in many ways you could make the points, and Brooks Garner worked in Houston, and probably can attest to this at a later time much better than I can, seeing as though he was there. One could make the argument that Harvey, that forecast was very clear days in advance. It's not like it came out of nowhere for those people there. That the potential was on the table for there being extreme and record-shattering rainfall somewhere in that area. One can make the argument that Harvey should have been a hurricane that was ranked differently because of the threat of extreme and notable flooding. So definitely going forward, there's more to be figured out, I think, with Cat 1 through 5, It's just like tornadoes. Tornadoes are based on wind speed, or based on the damage that they're done, and it could be an EF5 in the middle of a field, but if it doesn't hit anybody or building, and it weakens to an EF1 and hits one building, it's going to be rated as an EF1. So definitely the ways that we rank tornadoes and hurricanes, there's definitely a lot of topic of conversation to be had about how can we make that better. And the good news is we don't have to worry about anything in tropics right now. Things are really, really calm and quiet. But out there for this evening, just to leave you with this, we do have some showers and storms that are building. There's nothing strong or severe right now, but it's definitely going to be an active 2-3 days here of numerous showers and storms. So I want to thank you for watching with us today on our new 3 o'clock edition of our weather stream here on Fox Local and on our YouTube page. We're going to continue to work this. We're going to continue to build this, hopefully make this a home if you're interested in weather, have passion for weather, want to talk with us and the storm team. We're going to really work hard to give you something here on a new platform to reach out to us and connect with us here on the Fox 35 Storm Team for not just Florida weather, for anything big, far, and wide. And we have a lot of exciting things coming for you in the future. So for now, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you coming up on the News Edge at 5 and 6 with much more on these storms tonight. Have a good afternoon.
$5671. That's 800-897-5671.
Hey, welcome back to Fox Weather Now. Thanks for being here at the bottom of the hour. I'm Ian Oliver. Both basins here right behind me. You've got Kiko over on the Pacific side. That's going to buzz the tower a bit with Hawaii. A decaying storm, still a hurricane technically at this point. One that's going to kick up some very high surf, some dangerous rip currents on the Hawaiian island chain. And then over on the Atlantic side, crickets. No development expected per the National Hurricane Center over the next 7 days. I mentioned Hurricane Kiko. It continues to churn its